become, and it's this. Well, probably about a year ago or so, maybe even a little more, a Tunisian young man reached out to me for help, and I started helping him as much as I could. And his name's Med Amin, and he might show up today, I don't know. But after a few conversations, he messaged me and said, "Sir, thank you. You're the only one that helps me." And I went, "That's not right." And it kind of lit a fire inside me. And I just started thinking, wow, if he thought that little bit was encouraging, what else can I do? And so I just started looking for ways to help. And I remember getting messages from LinkedIn, "You're seen as an expert in your field and many could use your help." And I was like, yeah, right. But no, I started helping and I realized, wow, okay, I can help. And then I found ways to make that help more efficient. And then the people that I was helping also had ideas of how to make my help more efficient. And before long, here we are. But when people started asking me to get on a phone call and help them with mentoring, here's what I thought. I had all these other wonderful people, and I wanted those people to get the very best mentoring they could, but I knew that would happen if they heard not just from me, but my friends too. And then when we had our very first session, I provided answers to people's questions, but then I invited others to answer those questions. And you could sense the quality of the contribution go up because we were all seeking to have more together. We all have something to give, and we all want to help each other. And we're finding that by living that spirit more together, we really can have a powerful community of people that love to help one another. So Manpreet's going to give her story about integrated, and then we're going to let the icebreaker start.
Hello everyone. So as Thom told that, it was when I interacted with Thom, then we came up with we were talking about how to write blogs at that time because he was also looking to write blogs, and even I was trying to write blogs at that time. So we were discussing how we can integrate each other, and he had a vision of teaching mathematics and how mathematical tools are important when you are into data science, and that's how we got connected. And now this family is so big with such wonderful people out there. And I would say that integrated mentoring is not just limited to being a part of this community. I know there are people working besides this community also for other things for the community, like Great is working for MKI and he has a Pioneer chapter. Giovanna helps with everyone for the soft skills. Zena does her show. There's Ravit who does his show. I conduct meetups on my channel. So I, but still we all come here to share our experiences and share our views. So it's just not limited to this community, but there's a lot of community outside on LinkedIn whom we are personally connected to, and we can more we can help them more. And here we together integrate and share our experiences, learnings, and learn from each other. So it's all about learning from each other, growing from each other, accepting your mistakes and relearning them, and helping others to know that you did a mistake and it can help them grow. So it's all this is about integrated.
And as y'all know, Rafe and I will be starting a class soon for where we focus on the most fundamental overarching thing that all data scientists should know, the machine learning pipeline. And many of you out there are going to be TAs for that class. But Rafe and I are eager to announce more. We're just still working on things. And Manpreet and I are done. So what do we have next?
I think.
I would like.
Sorry, go, Manpreet, please. Go
No,
ahead.
I thought now I would like to say that Kate and Giovanna would start the ice breaking session they had planned for us today.
Thank you so much, Manpreet. And hi, everyone. I'm so happy. Happy New Year. This is our first session of this amazing year. This is our year. So today I'm going to introduce an amazing topic then that is going to be developed by Guy. But I'm going to introduce the topic with this icebreaker. And I want to share with you this link before share my screen. Just a second. This is a post. This post was my inspiration for this activity. It's a post of Joe Reese. I don't know if I am pronouncing well the surname, the last name. So because I like this post because every year we are trying to think about resolutions, what to do next year. No? And sometimes I do that. I have to confess. And at the end, the last day of the year, I go there. I said, okay, what did I did? What I didn't. So what do I have to do next year? But I love the way that he put these ideas in a way that every year should be a way of improvement. Not only put goals, but these goals are based of a path of improvements. So this icebreaker is trying to give us a tool to think about how can we improve ourselves. And I know that maybe we have already write our resolutions, but maybe we can improve them with this new technique. So, okay, if you don't follow Yo, please, I recommend to follow him because he has a very nice content, and not only, and he has a channel, and I want to share with you another link because I found a very interesting interview with John Thompson. It's the last interview, I think. But in general, he has very nice content. So I think it's a good way of knowing different point of view because he has a different point of view. Okay, so now let's start. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so let me check. Where is my presentation here? Okay, this is the tool. Can you see my screen? See? Okay, thank you. Okay, this is the SWOT analysis. I don't know if any of you know about this. Yeah, this is a strategic planning technique that is used for business, but apply for a personal improvement too. So we are going to use it to improve ourselves. So what means SWOT analysis for the ones that doesn't know about this technique? Okay. Is there any question? I can hear. Okay. What means SWOT is strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And we are going to use this time to analyze ourselves, to analyze our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what are we going to do? We need to think about our strengths like our superpowers. So everyone has a superpower, or maybe one more than one superpower. And weaknesses are the points that we need to improve, the things that maybe we need to work on trying to, maybe I don't know, the goal could be to make this weakness become a strength. It could be the top, but we can start working on our weaknesses. Opportunities are the aspects to take advantage of, and the threats are the situation to prevent effects from. So this is what SWOT means. So what are we going to do now? We are going to have 5 minutes to write our strengths, our weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We are going to analyze ourselves. Of course, we just have 5 minutes. We don't have a lot of time, but I would like at least one of each. What do you think? Is it possible to do it or not? Who can share an opinion now? Open your microphones if you want to share some ideas.
Yes. For me, I would start with my strengths, ambition. I think I'm so ambitious. My weakness, sometimes I get through moments of depression where I lose faith in my capacities. Opportunities, I think this community is just an amazing opportunity to grow and learn. It's the best opportunity that has ever happened since I started working and learning in this domain. And threats, illness, and I already saw this when I am ill and have cough, I think I'm not that productive. So my strength is ambitious, weakness is depression, opportunities, this lovely community, and threats, illness, and negative people also. So yeah, that's all.
Okay. Thank you so much, Taina. Thank you to talk about this so openly. Thank you so much. Another opinion?
I think my strength is that I get adjusted with people. I can talk to people easily. Weakness is I thought I was good at communication, but I have to work at my communication skills more and not to get so emotionally attached with everyone. Like my emotional content, I have to work in. Opportunities. Yeah, I took the opportunity of applying as a data engineer at PAC. That post was there. So I think I take the advantage and I take the advantage as much as I can help the community. And the threats are that I sometimes take so much of work and I feel that I'll not be able to do it and I take a lot of tension. So that is something that affects my health. So that is a threat.
Okay, so, about the threats, I would like to say that these threats could be external or internal. So something that we can manage and something that we cannot manage. Okay, thank you, Manpreet. Next one. Just a second. Christian, did you understand the exercise? Yes? No, please. I need your feedback.
Hello?
Okay. No, just a second because I need Christian. It's okay. Did you? Yeah. Okay. We are okay. Thank you so much. Okay. 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 Please, Kimberly. I think you were talking.
Can anyone do the translation for him?
Please.
Yeah, that's why I was talking. Okay. I'm going just a second. I'm going to translate the exercise to Christian. Okay. So, Cristian, este es el ejercicio del FODA, fortalezas, oportunidades, debilidades y amenazas. Tú lo conoces, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Ok,
Yes.
perfecto. Estamos tratando de compartir por lo menos una de cada una. Si lo puedes hacer en inglés, genial. Si no, yo la traduzco en el momento que quieras intervenir. Ok.
Okay.
Ok.
Gracias.
Thank you. De nada.
I know
Okay,
it's
Kimberly.
not serious, but I love this. Like, can we have all this mentoring session in this language? I'm just like,
Yeah, today is the day of
so
the
magic.
Please, Kimberly, sorry if I stop.
Oh, no,
you.
no, it's totally fine. I don't know if you can see me or not, but so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So looking at strengths, I would say my strengths are in analysis and that I'm outgoing and can meet people and talk to them easily. My weakness is probably confidence and also high-level mathematics, in all honesty. And my opportunities are learning and these types of communities. And then I guess my threats would be trying to not pay too much attention to world events right now.
Yeah.
Like in terms of situations that prevent effects from.
Sure.
Okay, thank you so much, Kimberly. Okay, next. Tess?
Hello everyone.
Okay.
I think,
Shubham, okay, please.
yeah. Hello everyone, myself Shubham. I think my strength is that I am diligent and sincere towards my approach. And in weaknesses, I could say that I have a very introverted personality. So sometimes I tend to get nervous on things that I don't even know why. And in terms of opportunities, I could say that I want to transit from science to data science, as I've done my graduation in integrated masters in applied physics, but I have the inclination towards programming toward in my curriculum. So I've been able to secure a position at Oracle Financial Services. And the threats that I could think of myself is my communication, and sometimes have been too polite with everyone. But just this.
Yeah. Okay, maybe just to clarify, is maybe if you need to improve your communication, we can put this on weaknesses, maybe because you need to improve it. Because
Yes.
threats are things that not don't depend of us. It's something that is about the environment. For example, COVID is a threat, something that we cannot manage. And then maybe the illness, as Saina said, is something that is internal because it's inside of us, but we cannot manage either that because it's something that happens and we have to just prevent the effects of that. So thank you so much for your example, because in that way we can clarify this for everyone. Thank you, Shubham. Next one, another example.
I have
I
a
think
quick
Rait
one.
has something to add.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah.
No, Tom, please, you first.
Just very briefly, I have a dear friend. They are on the show right now, and they were telling me recently how, because they talk to me a lot, their English is rapidly improving. So what I want to encourage from that is, if you have a weakness, look for opportunities to practice it. If you have a strength, look for opportunities to fulfill needs. If you just focus on those two things, you grow so fast. Practice in your areas of weakness, give away in your areas of strength. Right.
No, in fact, I didn't think that's great. Now, it's about, if I want to answer Giovanna's question directly, it's about my strength. For example, I think I think I'm able to put myself on anyone's shoes, so I'm able to understand his point of view. But this is also my weakness also, because if you understand everybody needs, you sometimes you forget about your needs. Now, what is the opportunities starting from this, you can understand how much of opportunities you can get, because I think I'm able to understand the needs of my friends and my community and everyone. Yes, this is give me a lot of opportunities, because when somebody asks you to help, you are helping him and helping yourself on the first level. So what is the threats? Threats, it's sometimes over trust. I trust myself more than enough. This is something that I have to confess about it. And also sometimes it's overwhelming that, yes, I have more tasks than I'm able to manage.
Thank you, guys. Any other? Because here, when we are sharing, we are sharing the things that we can share, because maybe there are some personal, we want to take in private, not because of our privacy, but now we can share, because this is just an exercise, but I'm going to invite you to do it in a, I don't know, to
Gio, I beg your forgiveness, but Harpreet Sahota is in the house. Let's all
oh my
say
God.
thank you for coming.
Welcome. Sorry, I couldn't.
Oh, you were
because
focused, and I knew you'd want to. So I'm going to go mute again and let Gio continue.
Okay, hi, Harpreet. Okay, so I was telling you that now we can share just one of each, but I think the homework for you, for us in general, is to do it properly by ourselves, because this is a very, very powerful tool that is going to help us in many, many cases. For example, in an interview, they ask you for your strengths and they ask you for your weaknesses. So if you have think about them in advance, you are going to be able to answer that questions. Because when a recruiter tells you, okay, why should we hire you? So you have to think about your superpowers, about the position that you are applying. Or when they said, what are your weaknesses? You are not going to start thinking about them just in front of the recruiter, because this is not professional. Because everyone who wants to grow, they need to plan they need to have an improvement plan. So because when you are working, you need to plan too. So it's a way of measuring how are you dealing with your personal life, and this is a proof of maybe what are you going to do when you are part of a team in that company. So that is so important to do this kind of exercises. So if anyone can share something, please go ahead.
I wanted to ask a question. Like you were talking about the weaknesses when recruiter ask us. So do you think that would put a negative thing, or how would you answer this question when you get asked?
Yeah, for example, I think the weaknesses is the question that is the most difficult question to answer. And I had a consultant here and they gave me a session, and they told me, you need to present your weaknesses as a way of improvement. That's the way of telling your weaknesses. For example, if I don't know, if I am someone who likes to do the things, follow the rules. Okay, this consultant maybe they can say, okay, maybe this is like maybe this person is like to try to do everything or need that someone tell this person what she needs to do, like 1, 2, 3, no, at all the steps, and maybe her creativity is not enough for our team, because when you are so you need to do the things step by step. Maybe you are not open to do other things to solve a problem. So it's and the consultant, the way that she told me how to present that was, okay, I like to follow the rules, but it depends on the situation. It depends on the process. And I am learning that I need to evaluate the situation before taking action about how to deal with the situation. So in that way, I am presenting my weaknesses, but at the same time, I'm telling them that I am open to improve myself and to learn from others, members of the team. So this is like an example of how to present our weaknesses. I know that is difficult, but this consultant told me another thing is like, please don't say that you're, it's an example, that you are trying to do everything perfect, because this is the same answer that everyone tried to say during the interview. And this is like, okay, I don't like this person because this person is just repeating something that has read on internet. So we need to change the way we present ourselves. We need to sell ourselves in a positive way. Improvement, always trying to present us as an improvement every day. So another example, someone else who wants to share.
Can I have
talk?
a comment,
Yeah.
Yes,
please, on this?
Zaina.
Who wants to talk before? Go for it.
Yeah. Myself is Anand. Can I talk?
Hi, Anan, go for it. I
Hi,
will just
Anand.
carry on after you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just my experience tell that I want to answer the question from Manpreet. Why weakness is important and why the interviewer asked this question to any person. So because same question I ask some of the when I take the interview of the person. This is very important as a company point of view. Why? Because when every person tell his weakness as a not personal, as a company, so that the company people think about his eagerness to learning. Yeah, see, and he tell his weakness. Now it is a company responsibility to make him be very perfect. But only the person who is giving the interview has a learning capability is very important. So weakness is a tool where you make yourself a perfect after explore your weakness to in the front of very experienced person. So this is a company required everything. This is my view.
Thank you, Anand. That's I just want to add to your to thank you for sharing your thoughts. This is
Thank you, ma'am.
important. Yeah, this is a very important thought, because it's necessary to know, to be aware of our weaknesses, because this is a proof that we are trying to improve ourselves. Another thing is, maybe we have more than one, because that's true, we have more than one, but we have to select the ones that, as you have said, Anand, can
Yeah.
in a way contribute to our learning process inside that company. So thank you so much for your thoughts, because this
Thank
is
you, ma'am.
very valuable thought for us. Thank you. Zaina, now it's your turn.
May I also say something after Zina? Zina or Zaina?
Zaina.
Zaina, go for it. Go for it.
No. You please go ahead. I kind of just wanted to
Okay.
line up.
You can line up because my idea is totally different. So you can go for it. Okay. Yes, go for it.
Thank you. I actually just wanted to share as well. I think it also depends on the companies that you're applying for. different organizations, different sectors, different responsibilities probably will be looking for different things. And again, this is kind of just my point of view. If I am interviewing, I'm looking for authenticity and sincerity. I want you to be honest about what you can do and how you can grow with a company. And for us, if I am in that position, as you've mentioned, Gio, I'm not looking for perfect, because I know it's not going to happen. And the landscape changes, the rules change, technologies change. We're looking for somebody who will be able to kind of go through the journey with us. And again, in an interview, it is, in some ways, it's unfair. You're given half an hour, 1 hour, 4 hours to present yourself. And that's not enough to present yourself. But we just need a window to see who you could be with a company. And if you would have the company's best interest, if you were selected as a successful applicant in that company. So I kind of just wanted to share that as well.
Thank you, Donovan. Excellent.
Could chime in
Thank you.
before Zina here. I would say that question, I think what it's actually we're trying to assess is your level of self-awareness, right? So I think that's the biggest reason of asking that question, is to see, is this person aware of the areas that they need to improve? Because I think the last thing any company would want is somebody to come in thinking they know everything, that there's no room for them to actually change. So just being aware that, yes, these are areas that I see in myself that require some improvement, and I'm actively taking steps to make improvements in those areas.
Thank you, Harpreet. Zaina, now I need to listen to you. I'm so curious.
Wow. In fact, for me, I think I always taken these weaknesses as an icebreaker between you and your future work colleague. Okay, so I have never followed the rule of seeing the strategy make your weakness a strength, and telling your weakness with the huge word, but I am working on it. In fact, just straight your weakness. We are human beings. We have strengths. As we have strengths, we have weaknesses. In fact, when he asks about the weaknesses, that this person is trying to know you, and since you are giving services to this company and you are contributing in the growth of this company, he wants to contribute and help you as well. So for me, I really remember when I did my internship at Volvo, the recruiter asked me this question: tell me, what are your weaknesses? And I talked to him about having problems with depression. And he was telling me, this is something, if your answer showed me something, that you are sincere, that you are accepting yourself the way you are, and you are talking openly about it. But please don't just think that I am recruiting you because you made me feel bad about you. It's just, this shows that you are strong enough to talk about this problem. And frankly, for me, your future colleagues are not persons that you are striving to please them and show them that you are perfect, and that you are determined, and that you are the typical article person that we are always been describing. Please show yourself the way you are, because they will know. As long as they work with you, they will know that you have down times, and during those down times, you will be more ready to talk about it and tell them, today I'm having, for example, a bad day today, and they will understand. And if this person didn't accept your weakness, it means that this work environment is not convenient for you. Do not force things, please. Like, do not take this work experience as it is, as if it is your last chance or your last opportunity. So for this weakness thing, for me, I see it like, if it is an icebreaker, this person in front of you is trying to understand you. And if he accepts your weakness and takes it as a strength, this person will accept you with all your downtimes, with all your failures, even in doing your work, as well as if he's accepting your strengths and you succeeding in work. So please be natural. Be natural. Don't play another role. Don't play strategies. Accept yourself the way you are, and talk about yourself freely. If you don't accept yourself, no one is going to accept you. And if the other person is not accepting your weaknesses, that this work environment is not good enough for you. It will, you maybe you won't crack from the first day, neither from the first year, but at the end of the years you'll be unhappy and you won't survive this work environment. So this is how I'm seeing things. Maybe experts will tell me, Zaina, as always, you are dreaming, you are telling things that are not practical, etc. But for me, this is the way I'm working, and yeah, that's it.
Can I
Thank
add
you,
one thing?
Zaina. Yeah, I just wanted to say something, and then
Sure.
please go there.
Go
It's
ahead.
like just to think, it's amazing the way that you have explained your point of view, Zaina. I agree with you. We need to be ourselves when we present in an interview, but something that maybe we can always think about is the way we present our ideas. It's the same when we talk about data visualization. It's the same. It's remember just the way that you present, because it's not everyone here has done the exercise, but it's exactly the same exercise that we did with the house. Remember, you can say something, and for you that something means one thing, and for the other person means another. So yeah, the thing that you have said is amazing. I believe that that's the best way of present ourselves, being ourselves. And but just prepare how to, not a strategy, it's not the way, maybe the words that may transmit your message in the right way. So present your weaknesses in a way that they can see that weaknesses is going to be part of the diversity and inclusion of the company, because this is amazing. We are different, and when a team has diversity, is more powerful. So I agree with you. And the other thing is, it's okay that we have weaknesses, and this is part of our lives, but I think we should work more on the weaknesses that could block our path to arrive to our vision, our personal vision statement, because some of our weaknesses could be our enemy to achieve our goals. We need to work on that kind of weaknesses. Maybe there are other weaknesses that we can live with all the rest of our life, because maybe we love that weakness. So I
Yeah.
think but maybe we need just to work on the ones that could block us to achieve our goals.
Yes, you're so right. But as a part of solving a weakness is being consciousness about. And once you are dealing with it and you are finding a way to deal with it, and among the things that we need to deal with it, talking about this, for example, weakness, is just raising awareness around it and also accepting it in order to be able to deal with it, you know?
Yeah,
So,
of
yeah,
course.
but you are right on the other part. It's the rational part of Giovanna and the part that I need. So please take the both.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I know someone else
I
asked to share. Can I get next in queue after the next person?
Yes, please. Who
And
goes
Gio,
next?
real quick, I know you're busy moderating, so I wanted to point out there's some excellent points being made in the chat. Take
Please,
your
could you
time.
share them? Please, could
Yeah,
you share them?
let me try to go over them briefly. Kimberly was making an important point that I'm not sure I completely understand. I think I do. I think there should also be a distinction made between interviews with recruiters versus interviews directly with a company. Now I get it better. That's very important. So think about that. And then A lot of agreement with Zionist statements. By the way, Greg's in the house, Kukuya. Interviews, Donabelle's saying, should be a two-way conversation. Strongly agree with this. It's figuring out if we are a fit in the company and if the company is right for us, as Zina has mentioned. And then, by the way, Harpreet had to step out if y'all didn't see that. I pointed out, hey guys, all the things we discussed in all the sessions, it's not like learn it and go practice perfectly right away. All these things are things we're going to need to practice the rest of our lives to get better and better at. And it's a lesson I learned far too late. Loving the icebreaker, Manpreet had to leave early. And yeah, that covers it, Gio. Please take back over.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Thom. Who was the next person who wanted to share?
I did ask, but I thought someone had started speaking earlier, so I didn't want to interrupt them. Was there? I think there was someone else that offered.
No, Kevin, it was me. Go ahead. No problem. Please.
Okay.
Yeah, go, Kevin.
Sure. Thank you, guys. I'm glad to be back for one. Do my own little icebreaker since I didn't do an introduction, but my first time on the show was 2 weeks ago, and all of you guys were super welcoming, and I just love the energy and the positivity of all of you guys. So that's why I'm back here, because that's what I'm trying to bring more into my life is that positivity and that empowerment. So a lot of what I've been working on, kind of talking in terms of self-awareness and my own mental health, my own personal statement, is reframing. So we take these like models or these acronyms that we use to try to frame our thoughts and try to map out where we are and where we would like to be, because it's constantly changing. And along the model of the SWOT, which is, I think, what is it? Strengths, weakness, opportunity, threats. Did I have that right? I was recently introduced to a similar model called SOAR. And I put it in the chat, but it's SOAR. And it stands for strength, opportunity, aspirations, and results. And so in my way, it's an opportunity to reframe this idea of SWOT, where the words in the acronym aren't necessarily negative, but they frame it in the sense of like, well, let me think about my weaknesses. Let me think about my, my threats. And instead we can focus on what's my opportunity? What are my strengths? What do I aspire to be? And how do I put that in place and follow some plan or plan of action that will get me the results that I want? So there's a lot more that goes into that, of course, and I'm simplifying it. But for me, and I'll just kind of list because I jotted some stuff down, but at least for my SOAR, my strength is communication, I think, and presentation. My opportunity to learn more is to get better at writing. I think that writing is a great way of, I'm taking notes here right now. It's a good way to stay engaged, to learn with you all, and to be able to look back on what I wrote and do some reflecting. An aspiration for me is to help people to help themselves. So I'm all about self-awareness and personal development and empowerment. And then the result of that is not necessarily the result I want to get, but I just want to be able to practice it more. And speaking with you all is my opportunity to practice that skill, to learn from you, to share what I want to say, and then also just have my ears open and listen to the rest of you, because we all come from different parts of the world, different cultures, different backgrounds, and we all have something to contribute. And so that's what attracted me to this group, is that it's you guys have your own interpretation of it, and this is only my second session, but I love that you guys just want to help each other and share your ideas. And there's no right way to do things, right? There's multiple ways, and there's yours, mine, and another. So anyway, that's my little spiel. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kevin. Guy, it's your turn.
No, in fact, I have some concern. I don't have notes. Right now it's changed. That's why it's not have value, because I think about your question for SWOT. It's about personal vision. That means I'm not thinking about the interview, I'm thinking about myself. So I have to be clear about myself. And when I talk about weaknesses, yes, I have to know it very well, and I have to face myself with it. This is the first, but this is changed when you speak about the personal. Yes, that you change the line, and also with Kevin contribution, it was very perfect. This is the first thing, and the second thing, it's about why I don't like for personal planning. I don't like to think about the interviews or about the companies, because you are planning yourself and then find the company for that. Focus on yourself. This is what I try to do. I'm focusing on myself. So mainly the interview, you will pass it. You will find a way to pass it. You can't cheat even. No issues about that. But to be succeeded in your life, you have to know yourself.
Yeah.
This is my concern on it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your thoughts. Yes, it's true. It's true because when I told you that this is a personal exercise and maybe just share what you want and you can share, is because it's personal. Maybe I have included some things that I don't want to share with others, but yeah, we need to think about this in every aspect of our lives. And thank you for your contribution, guys. But the first thing is think about ourselves to be better for us, not for the others. That's the message, I think. And
Giovanna,
then
sorry.
Valerie, yeah, you want to speak? Hi.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, for strengths, I was going to say solving problems. And weakness, I would say avoiding solving problems. Or maybe that's another strength, actually. I've made it an art form, I think, of avoiding solving problems. And so for opportunities, I realized that my time management skills were just not very good. And so I started, researching different ways to, time blocking and Pomodoro and all these different things, and kept failing and failing and failing. And finally, over New Year's weekend, I was like, okay, this is just not working. It's like, all I thought was I keep dropping balls all over the place. So I sat down and with an Excel spreadsheet and my calendar, which is Outlook. And I'm like, okay, the Outlook I have to have because I need to know what meetings and time and everything. That's got to stay. But what about everything else? And so I realized I needed a dashboard. And I started to think about executive information systems and thinking about KPIs and what are my KPIs, and like what do I really need to focus on here, and what do I need to really keep track of. And so what I did basically was just, and it's pretty simple, but it's working so far. It's been working for the last 7 or 8 days, or since New Year's. How many days are we now? 9. See, I can't even get that. So anyway, first one was just, the first column was just like a brain dump of all of the stuff that I need to get done because there's just too much. And then starting to organize it, like, okay, what has to be done in the house? Like, cleaning, meal planning, grocery shopping, all of that stuff has to get done. And then looking at the business things and trying to make discrete labels or discrete, puzzle pieces for these things. So I had the 4 columns that I froze, and then I put 1 day because I thought, just focus on 1 day. Don't look at the next 30, just focus on 1 day. You've got Outlook that's got all the appointments, but okay, what do I need to get done for today? And so that's really started to work for me, as I can look at all the stuff and then what's going to fit in and where do I fit it in my calendar. And at least I'm not missing bills and missing deadlines and forgetting to call people and, oh, the plumber is here today. Why did I forget that? So just stuff like that. And so it's been, what I'm finding is it's a lot less stressful. Now at least I have a better handle on what's going on, and I'm not avoiding things as much, because at least I've got them in some kind of order that I can deal with. So I'm working on that, not avoiding the problems this year, trying to solve the problems. So
I just want to
Can I
echo
add
briefly, real quick, Sai.
Thank you.
I just want to add something briefly to what Val was saying. A very wise friend of mine, maybe 5 years to a decade older than me, she said something to me about 5 years ago. You know, I feel like it took me 50 years just to learn how to live life. And Valerie, I feel that way. I just want to add that, and what you're sharing, I can echo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Maybe someday we can organize a session that you can explain your dashboard, showing us how can you do it. Yeah, because I'm so curious. I want to learn from you. It could be a good idea. Thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Sai, who is the next one who wants to share?
About the weakness, I had an experience. I went for an interview of the defense, Indian Defense, Air Force and Indian Navy. And there, the first day, I went for the personal interview round also. The same question they asked me about your weakness. And I said, sir, I don't know any weakness. Because that's what my peers, everybody told, don't tell your weakness, otherwise you will be out the next day. And I simply didn't say anything. And since I hadn't told my weakness, I suppose they just gave me a written check, please go get lost from here. But after a while, I asked one of the officer coming out of that interview that why the weakness is asked like in the interviews. He said, acceptance is directly proportional to the learning. The first thing I said, can you kindly repeat it? I didn't get it. And he said that when you accept something, weakness means your loopholes. When you accept your loopholes, it means you are presenting, you're confessing everything in front of the world. And that means that you will also have that ability to learn and work on it in the future. So that's something that was a very good experience for me. And that's what I just learned about weakness. That's it.
Can I take a stab?
Yes.
So my guess is we're talking about, and thank you, Sai. That's a very great point. I like that. My guess is you're talking about strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats. Well, I can talk about weaknesses that I have all day, but I can talk about the one that I think affects a lot of things. So, but I should start with strength. I think my strength is kind of like bird's eye view. I can take a look at a situation and extrapolate 5 years down the line and tell you what kind of technology or what move you should make and bring a different perspective. So think big for me is one thing that I've identified that I'm good at. And when I'm in a group, I can steer the direction of the initial direction that the group thought they should take. So at the same time, one of the weaknesses that I've been struggling with for years is I'm impatient. Impatience makes me not want to document stuff. I could spit so many good ideas out, but I will not write them down. I could live so many ways, but I will not write them down. I could plan in so many ways that I will not write them down. So when it comes to personal side, finances, I know everything here. And when it comes to planning financially, or when it comes to planning a project at work, it's all here. And it's a struggle for me to put it down. Opportunities, writing it down. I see this. Impatience makes me not want to write documents. However, especially where I work, documents are one way or one of the best ways to change organizations. You will find also writing documents can also change your personal life. So when you know how to write clearly, you learn how to communicate clearly. So for me, that's one of the biggest things. And also threats, I do believe that impatience is a huge threat for me as well, simply because I want to get there tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow is not the time for me to get there. And it's a huge threat because it could disrupt or it could destroy my plan because I want to be there tomorrow. So this is why for me, this year, my focus is on patience. So I can make sure that whatever big idea comes to mind, that big idea doesn't have to like concretize today or tomorrow. It will be through thought out plan and execution. So cheers to patience and thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Greg. You have done an amazing analysis of yourself, and we are learning a lot from that. And I think that that you said about the writing, and you are, because of your writing skills, you are the top voice. So congratulations, you have improved yourself doing what you are saying as you are doing. Thank you. That's the improvement. That's something that that when we said make everything, try to that a weakness maybe become a strength. It's not negative to think it that way. It's something that is going to help you to be better, to improve yourself. Maybe we cannot do with every weakness that we have, but we can start with the one that can improve our life, like Greg said. And this is it's very important because we need to identify what is the weaknesses that we need to work in. Another opinion, and thank you so much for all the thoughts that you are sharing on the chat. Thank you, Kimberly, for the things that you are sharing, and everyone that you are. We need to control this, but we need to have a track of all the messages that we have on the chat because they are awesome. Another, we have some minutes to finish this icebreaker, and then Guy has something important, very important to share with us. So is there anyone else who wants to be the last for
Giovanna,
sharing?
I would love to know your answer on this question. What do you think about it?
Okay.
So, you know, Alec did want to say something, I think.
Yeah, please go.
Yeah. So if you talk about the strength part, so I would say that since my school days, I have been always in the front line to take opportunity and at least do something and analyze myself by speaking with people and working with people. So that actually boosted my self confidence, and these days I'm able to talk and share experiences or even take different kinds of workshops, at least in a few people. So it gives kind of a different level of speaking confidence in front of people. So that's was my strength, and communicating with the people and making things work when you talk about just discussing the point or initiating the talk at some point. So that's that also I'll say as my strength. And then opportunities, I would say that, oh sorry, I forgot the weakness. The weakness is like whenever I try to explore some topics, right, and we get some different kinds of links from that topic, like that gets deviated. So what happens with me is like I go on deviating from one topic to another topic, and that kind of takes a lot of time to come to one point. So I'll term that as a kind of weakness. And the second type of weakness is like earlier I used to whenever I used to get my mood was used to get off. So what I used to do is like I used to stop working or studying what I used to do. But these days, what I do is like if I have 10 topics in front of me, so based on my mood, if it gets off at some point, so I do that thing which makes me feel better. So like by coding, I'm not able to focus. So I'll just listen. I'll just try to listen to the tutorial. So at least I'll be busy. I'll keep myself busy at that point. So it's nothing like I'm facing some kind of a loss. Okay, so I try to tune that kind of weaknesses into strengths or the opportunities. And coming to the opportunities, like these days, since I'm very active on LinkedIn, so I'm able to communicate with a lot of people with different areas, and that actually helped me to grow a lot. And I met this family, and so it's superb thing that happened since the last year. And threats is like what I feel is whenever see many people around me, like or the job description which I had discussed in one of the talks, right? So whenever I see such kind of profiles, I first think is like, will I able to cope up with that? But these days I'm trying to break down that points, and I'm trying to achieve it one by one. So that was just a short analysis of mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Alok. Thank you so much. So I
Excuse
need
me,
to.
Giovanna Christian wants to talk in the comment section.
Okay.
I am going to read my notes.
Yeah.
1. Strings. Moment, please. Strings. High-level Tableau display, dashboard Tableau. I like this data, excuse me. Weakness. I don't know very well English. I need rare soft skills, excuse me. I am learning to program basic level of Python, and opportunities, visualization on geographic data in Tableau, in latitude and longitude, date. I lack this data. And there's a little time for activities and learning more, and no more. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christian. Thank you. Congratulations, because it's the first time that you are participating in English, and I'm sure that this is your first steps. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. And then it was amazing. Thank you for your sharing your thoughts. And then we have Arshad, who has raised the hand. And please, if you want to share something, or just okay.
It was by mistake.
Okay. Okay, because I see here, so I didn't want to cut.
Yeah, I don't have my laptop, so I'm just playing with I'm just moving around with their mobile. Yeah, I'm listening to all of it. Yeah, great.
Okay, thank you, Arshad. So thank you so much to everyone for sharing your thoughts. I know that it's not easy to share these kind of things, but you have done it so great. Thank you so much. I'm so proud of all of you. And then I just want to leave you with one message that I think is nice to see. Just a second. I'm trying to share this is something that I found on the internet, is don't go through life, no, just grow through life. And I think a way of doing this kind of exercises, of using this kind of tools, is going to help us to improve ourselves, to grow through life. And I'm sure that it's better enjoy our life growing. And that's the lovely thing that we have in this community, in our community in general, in the data science community, is the sharing and caring that help us to grow and learn together. So let's try to always think about how can we grow every day to achieve our goals. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. And this was an amazing icebreaker. And now I'm going to pass to Guy. Please, you have an amazing thing to share with us. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Giovanna. Thank you. It was great. But Giovanna, if you want me to share with the presentation, you have to return back the host to me, please, because I make you a host just to be able.
While we're doing that, I just want to share with you guys what Wraith is about to share is ultra cool. But it's one of those disciplines that it's going to take a lifetime to practice the kind of thing he's going to talk about. So as always, be patient with yourself as both you hear it and learn to put it into practice.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Guy, please, could you tell me how can, because it's the first time
You
that...
have to check for my name, and then you have two options there.
Okay.
Oh, and one other thing, Gio? Everybody clap for Gio.
Oh,
That
was awesome. Great job. Yes.
Gio, next to my name, you can find more. If you click on more,
yeah, I'm
one.
looking for the option. Sorry, because the first time I'm doing this. Make host. Okay.
Exactly. Okay.
Thank you, guys, for your patience.
Thank you. Don't worry, it's okay. In fact, I was thinking about not sharing my screen, but there is some ideas there. It will help me also to share my screen. That's why. Hopefully, it will be shared soon. Okay, this is my screen. I hope everybody is able to see it. Now, in fact, this presentation I already presented in one event, and I want to share it with you. It's about also the start. It will be, by the way, the start. It will be kind of technical start, but at the end you will find why this is very related to our session today. It's about knowing ourselves. So just when we think about the human brain, that we used to see it just like this image, this forest we have it here, that it's kind of neurons connected to each other, and then the signal is come from, let's say, one senses or one emotion, and then it goes through this neuron. And according to that, we have this feeling and this reaction to whatever we are facing on our life. There is two important facts about the neurons in the human brain, that the count of the neuron is not changed. That means the human body is unable to create new neurons after the birth. The second, sometimes we will lose some neurons according to during the life, but not new neurons. What will be generated? It's more connectivity. That means the connection between each two neurons or others, it will be more and more. This is, yes, it's able to be trained. And we will see why we need to train this, why we need to make, or the body is creating this connection later. Now, in artificial intelligence, yes, we are trying to copy this concept of neural networks, but in mathematical way. So the language that we are speaking here, it's the mathematics. Now, according to that, we are creating a set of connected entities. We name it neurons, but at the end, it's function. And this neuron is not biological neuron, because the biological neuron, we don't know exactly what it's doing, even if it might be a mathematical function, but we don't know how it's implemented. But we find a way to represent it. And again, the signal is the input. The signal in the human body is the input for our neural networks. But again, we are thinking about a neural network. It's created for a specific task. We are not talking about human brain. Now, I'm trying to be fast, just to reach the point that we need. So human brain is different from the neural network, from the learning method. The learning method in the human brain, it's not categorized under supervised or unsupervised learning, or even reinforcement learning, even if the reinforcement learning is something that the human being is doing somehow. Not only the human being, all the life, animals, plants, they have some kind of reinforcement learning, but it's not structured like this. And also, the abstraction method is different. We don't have abstraction method in the neural networks. We have to learn it to the neural networks. For example, if your kids ask you, Dad, what is this? He's talking about a cat. In his mind, he is unable to see anything but the cat. He abstract everything. He just only asking you about the entity. And also when you answer it, you are focusing only on the cat. In fact, who is working on the image processing, he knows that this is not happen in the neural networks. One important thing also, we don't have vectorization also, but this abstraction method help us on the feature selection. We don't have to focus on how the body is doing the feature selection. We don't know, in fact. It's happened. That's how. On the learning method level also, we don't have in the human brain, we don't have kind of vectorization. That means the input will be on serial. It's not on parallel processing. So, but it's worked faster, by the way, faster than the neural network. So that's why we don't know exactly what's happening in our brain. The last thing, it's also how the brain is generating the feelings and the emotions, and also what is the entity on the brain. Because in the neural network, we are dealing about the neural network itself, the total as entity. Even if we are going for object-oriented programming and we want to represent a neural network, the entity, it will be the full neural network. It will not be one neuron. Otherwise, it will be very hard to train this neural network. In fact, in brain, no, the entity is the neuron itself, because we have some neurons are, let's say, connected to more than one task on the brain. So the neuron itself, it's a unit. This is how the brain is different from my point of view from the neural networks. But we used to think that the brain is divided like this, that we have separate sections. Each part is responsible for one task and it's worked separately. In fact, this is not true. What we find really, this is the brain, how it's work. We have, yes, this kind of separate section just to receive the signals. And according to that, because the neuron, let's say the signal is coming from the eye to that section exactly. But if it's coming to another section, also it still works. And then the whole brain is involved on creating reaction or decision about these signals that we receive. How it's happened that the brain is creating for more frequent, let's say, signals, creating kind of path. This path, it's a set of neurons next to each other. Each one is doing something until we reach the decision. This path, it's involved in the whole brain. It's not on a single signal, on single section on the brain. Now, this is a very important idea. How we find it on the neural network, artificial neural networks. When we studied, the explainable AI start to raise and the need to understand our model, we find some interesting findings. One of them is only 5 or 10, when you have a huge or very deep neural network for one task, most of the times you have 5 or 10% of the neurons are involved or activated for decision. The other neurons is not activated anymore. And this leads us for something else. Also, one of the important things, let's say, how explainable AI is helpful, because it's helping for performing better feature selection and better data engineering method or pre-processing. Using explainable AI, it will lead for this. But let's focus on what is the neurons are activated for a specific task. We are talking about 5% of the neurons. According to that, and also copying from the nature, we found that there is a new process called sparse brain training method. When you have, what we are doing, we are creating some kind of filter or persona before starting the training. According to this filter, some of the weights, it will be zeros because we don't want to be activated. And then we will train the neural networks, and then we will find the accuracy, all the matrices that we need, the evaluation matrices that we need. And according to that, we will try again with different filters. We found, some researcher found that, it's one company in fact, that this method, it will reduce the cost, time cost, and the let's say, the resources cost by somehow between 40 to 50 times of using the dense neural networks. So, and this will give us faster and cheaper performance. For sure, there is some change on the structure when you use this. It's better than using reload function at the end. You are going to use the sparse activation, which is key winner. And with key winners, it's non-linear function, so it's able to do the task. Who wants to go deeper on this? I can share the paper for him. But again, we are coming from the nature. We find that the nature is creating kind of paths to make decisions. And here we are changing our training method to do the same in case to reduce. And this has happened after we find it by explainable AI that we are able to do that, in fact. Now, this is here is some, let's say, discussion about the paper itself, but where this is lead us. This lead us to know ourselves, how this is happening. Now we know, even either if we are talking about artificial neural networks or about our brain, that the brain is creating habits. That when we have a signal, immediately we have a set of neurons, it's activated and it gives us this fast and important impact or reaction for this signal. Now, this has put us on just if we know ourselves, we are able to change these habits. How to do that? In fact, the brain is very active in creating these paths when we are young, let's say, starting from the birth until 20 years old, it will be on the top. And then we start losing this ability, somehow losing, we are not losing it totally. And the reason is we are losing some neurons and the brain is using new neurons to keep our habits as it is. So according to that, we find it's not easy for, let's say, for the elder people like me who reach almost 40 years old to change their home. By the way, it's easy for me. Okay. But it's easy for the younger people. For my kids, he's always want to change his home. Okay. So changing the habits during the younger age, during between 20 and 30 years old, it's the time to do that. And how to do that? We have to know what is the good habits that we have to keep it and make it stronger. And what is the bad habit, what is our weaknesses to work on it and change it. And it's the time when we are on this age, in fact, because we are able to do that. Sorry, I'm finding a lot of on the chat, a lot of messages, but when I'm focusing on something, I cannot read. So I will continue and then I will check the messages. Now, when we are changing our habits, it's very important to take care about our ethics. And here, I'm not going to tell you what is the good ethics and what is the bad ethics or bad attitude that we have. It's only one word. It's, let's say, personal message to everyone. What is the bad ethics or what is the bad attitude that you have? It's something that you are able to do, but you are feeling shame to do it, or you don't want to know that you don't want anybody to know that you did it. If you have this feeling, then this is bad actor. So just forget about this. Go to the good ethics when you are able to be on public always. So this is only a message. Whatever you feel that you want to do, but you feel shame that if you did it, this is the bad ethics. Now, if we back to that, how to find the suitable job and how this changing our habits, it will help us. We have to understand ourselves, to know ourselves clearly about that we are good on something, but we like something else, for example. What we like to do and we are good on doing it, this is our passion. This is something that we have to do. Let's say it will be our personal vision to meet that target. Now, what we are good on doing it and we are get paid for it, this is our profession, this is our daily work. This is from where we are able to pay our bills and to eat and to meet our responsibilities. Okay, what words needed, and it's something that we love, it's our mission. Our target is to reach to this center point center red point on the middle. If we're able to find it, then we are finding our, let's say, ideal work, ideal job, because it's meeting our passion with our mission, with our profession, and will be useful also for the world. Now, this is our purpose. It's not important to reach this purpose, but it's important to follow it until you reach, okay? Because this is what makes life deserve to live. Okay, later, before understanding all of this, we have to understand our abilities. And here is the great part about this session, I think. It's to understand what we are able to do. For example, I started posts on LinkedIn this week. It's if I wasn't live. This post is kind of wish for me. I like this person. I like his abilities. I like his way of thinking, for example. So I just want to say thank you for him. And I start this post. And the first week it was about Giovanna. But in fact, I'm unable to be Giovanna. I'm unable to be Tom. I'm Raif. And to understand what is me, I have to know my abilities. And especially when it's related to the work, to the job, I really have to understand my ability. So there is, according to Lou Adler, there is 4 kinds of jobs, 4 kinds of candidates, let's say. There is the thinker, who's fully talented person. Maybe he is unable to perform daily tasks, but he is able to come with great ideas. There is the builder, who is joining his ability of the thinker, the ability of the thinker with some kind of execution plan. We used to name it engineers, for example. There is the improver, who is able to get all of the theoretical studies and improve it to meet the needs of daily tasks. And there is the producer. Producer, he is the person who is able to produce everything and meet all the challenges personally to do the job. Now, nobody from my point of view, nobody from these 4 kinds of candidates, it's better. In fact, he will be better in suitable place. We will find a suitable place for this person. And this is our task as people. We have to find our suitable place and to know that our passion has to meet this suitable place. We don't have to go out. Okay, the dream is great, but the dream has to be able to be real. This is my task. So when we know ourselves, nobody is better than another one. But me, myself, it's better as, for example, as producer. Other person is better to be thinker, and something like this. So we are here, it's not classifying according to the stairs. We are not going from down to top. No, we are understanding our abilities. That's all what I want to share. By the way, all the information here, there is references for it. If you want, I can share some references, especially when we are talking about the sparse brain learning. And thank you. I'm done.
Thank you so much, guys. Amazing.
I'd like to moderate for the questions. I know Greg had a question for you, Ray.
Yes. So my question is around imitation of the brain. Would you say the best route or a good start for us humans to mimic our brain is to maybe build a state-of-the-art reinforcement learning agent that's able to think for itself, kind of like aggregate all of the experiences and set standards to determine which is the best path. I mean, I know that's what reinforcement learning does, but what's missing there? That's really the question.
Yes, I tell you what's missing there. In fact, the problem about reinforcement learning is sometimes the environment is giving you a negative reward. There is a lot of concern, for example, for using reinforcement learning in healthcare sector, because especially even when we are talking about small tasks, just like giving some advices for healthy lifestyle. Because if the environment of the person is totally negative, it cannot generate any healthy lifestyle. Now, this is not happening in the brain. The brain is able to find the good solution, even if the environment was bad around him. I'm sure there is some environment, it's totally destroying the person, destroying the life. But even on that very bad situation, you can find that the brain, the human brain, is able to think about something out of the box. That's why the reinforcement learning is not the perfect representation for the brain. This is my point of view.
It's interesting that you say that, because I now, you have this concept of artificial general intelligence. And if you merge that with reinforcement learning, maybe that's the answer, because AGI is able to jump into multiple environment to pull information and create some sort of logic. If you merge the two, maybe that's a good way to look at it. So thank you, Raif.
Thank you, Greg.
Excellent. And Kimberly has a very interesting question for you, Ray.
Yes, Kimberly, I'm ready to hear. Or should I read it from the chat?
Yeah, it might be better to read it from the chat. It was basically in the chart that you were looking at. How do you ascertain where you fall in those levels? It's one thing to say know yourself, but sometimes you don't actually know. Like sometimes you think you're bad at something and you're really good at it, or you think you're good at something and you're really bad at it.
Okay, in fact, this question, Tom, I think you better to answer about it, but I have some ideas. Okay, when you are going to evaluate yourself, you have to go out of yourself. This is the first step. You have to look at yourself from outside. Be strange. Look at the mirror, maybe. This is the first step. Now, how to do that? The first thing comes to my mind, yes, at least for me, I'm able to look to my history, to my job, to my career, I'm able to find something. And each one in this group is able to understand himself even from his classmates, from his teacher, from his mentors. He will understand where he is exactly. Not taking their opinion as for granted that it's correct, but when now we can use kind of a predictive model according to our data of our life. We can understand ourselves. This is how I look at it, but I'm not the correct person. Let's say this is how I do it, okay? But I'm not the correct person to teach the people about it. I think maybe Tom is better to answer about this.
Just real quick, Kimberly, as I remind everyone as frequently as I can remember, I don't really want to be a master or regarded as a master. I just want to have other passionate people around me that want to figure these things out together. And that's kind of the way I'm going to answer this question. In childhood, there were things I was good at, but I wasn't passionate about them. Have you all heard the statement, culture eats strategy for lunch? If you have a great strategy, but it won't integrate into the culture you're trying to affect, you're already going to lose. And I would say we have an internal culture. It's what we're passionate about. So Kimberly, my first thought, I didn't know Rafe would do this to me, but I had a thought. It was like, well, shoot, I'm just going to do what I'm most passionate about anyway, because if I don't do that, I'll just be unhappy. And that's my internal culture, is what I'm passionate about. I hope that makes sense.
I add a little bit. So for me, what I'm learning through life, and I'm continuing to learn, is that we always think, or we tend to think, that we can do it by ourselves. And Raif, you started the right way. You have to go outside of yourself. The way I heard what you said is that you have to ask people, what do you think of me? We have to be comfortable with asking that. And another thing too is we have to learn to take the scrappy approach when it comes to life. And that's how you discover your strengths and weaknesses. We tend to think that we have one chance at life. That's our protective nature, our survival nature, is that we have to get it right once, at first try at least. So, I'm learning quite daily to take interest into something and try it and let somebody else tell me how I'm doing. and maybe I suck, and that's okay. And if it's something that I really love, then I train myself to get better. But by not trying, you will never know. That's how you hear about those young prodigies out there. It's because they tried. And it was, in fact, a match at their core skills or their innate ability to do that particular activity. You know, to me, opportunities, they're everywhere. You just have to line yourself up with the one that you like. And to line yourself up means you have to shoot a lot of darts until you hit it. So be scrappy and ask people how you're doing. And as you try, you become less scrappy. And as people are giving you insights of how you're doing, you get better until you get bullseye. So, you know, to me, it's a daily way of life. You don't have to start by being the expert. You just start by curiosity. So
I think it comes back very beautifully to Giovanna's last slide. Don't go through life, grow through life. I think that's what I heard you saying, Greg. Any more questions to Raith about his talk? I don't see anything specifically in the chats on it. Raith,
So I want to add one thing.
Oh, sure.
Okay. It's when I have a lot of concern about, it's not about the mentality itself, just to try and ask and find, that Greg said, it's correct. But about how to filter the feedback that you get from the society, especially when you are in, let's say, not that much friendly environment. So that's why I think we need to mix both what Tom said, that what's your passion, and what you said, Greg. And also, I still think that you have to have this skill to go outside of ourselves and evaluate our life. This is three, its main keys for me. Thank you, Greg. It was great. Thank you, Tom, also.
So there's another question from the audience. It comes from Thom Ives, and he wanted to know, what would be your top 1 to 3 takeaways you would want the audience to have? And let me answer explain why I'm asking this. There's the talk you gave. There's the talk you intended to give. And then there's the talk the audience heard. But I really want to know, Raith, what was the top takeaway you wanted everybody to have from your talk? And then you can give second and third too if you want. But I'm most interested in the top because I want to make sure I did not miss your intention.
In fact, it was this presentation, it was for Lightning Talk Summit, which was from MindHack Summit. And it was directly to the student, direct to the student. And since they are students, that I understand that the ages, it's between 20 to 30. Just I want them to know, this is the most important part, that even biologically, you are in the correct time to plan your life. And this plan, it can be revisited, no issues about that. So mainly, I'm not the person who's looking for a good company to work on. I'm looking for myself to grow and let the company find me. Sometimes for sure I have to promote myself, but first I have to work on myself. This is what I want to tell them, that everything is started from themselves. They are able to do everything that they need. It starts from themselves. They are the real wealth that all their country has, the world they have. It's the personal vision statements that comes from Giovanna, but in even biological way. This is what's happened. You have to train yourself to know yourself better, and you know where are you going.
So, Raith, this was why you were emphasizing the different training modes. And now even in Transformers, we're seeing that you can train them. They can transfer learn. And so what I think you're showing is, hey, if the neural network can relearn, so can we.
Exactly. This is what I want.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great. By the way, we love it when y'all start saying the word integrated more often, not because it advertises for our group, but because integrating brilliance from all areas of life and using it to help you where you are now, that's what we try to do a lot of, helping each other do that together. That was really good, Ray. Was there a second major point, or was it really, and by the way, I love single point talks, and I think that is your single point. Is there a big second takeaway you would want people to have?
Maybe I didn't think about it that much, but yes, there is something I used to have it as an unclear message that always I try to do it during my speech. Now it's clear that even if neural network, artificial neural network, able to retrain, so we are able to retrain, yes. But it's the most important point, maybe the hidden point that I want to mention, is it starts from ourselves to know where we are going. For example, in fact, it's about the ethics. It was about the ethics. We need right now, a lot of work happened about AI ethics. For me, I see it's easier than any other topic because AI is reflecting AI work, products, whatever. It's reflecting our personal ethics. So for example, if we have this ethics, why, by the way, maybe this slide, you can see it, it's just it's without the starting and then it's disappeared. This is what I need to say. The ethics, it's something that representing us. By the way, it's not our action, it's not our smartness, our abilities. No, in fact, what is representing us, it's our ethics. And everybody is dealing with us according to our ethics, not to our brightness. So this is the hidden message, and I hope it's reached because I mention it in the middle. Ethics is very important it's what we are really. It's reflecting to our culture, to our internal culture also. It's all about the ethics.
Now let me see if I can repeat that, because Rafe, I got to confess, extreme embarrassment. The first time you asked me about explainable AI, I don't think I really understood the purpose of it at the time, because my first introduction to it was something that just quite frankly frustrated me to no end, and that was working with the U.S. military, by the way. But I think I understand. For example, when I hear math students complain, I got the right answer, why didn't you get full credit? And I didn't know how to answer that 20 years ago, but now I would say, because young man, math is not about right answers. There's not always a solution manual in life. It's about how you tell the story of how you got there. And it was as listening to you talk about your presentation, I'm beginning to realize, yes, deep learning can tell us things that are kind of hard to understand the outputs of. But if we don't ask, hey, can we learn from how it got there? Then we don't necessarily know how to affect change if we don't know how it got there. And thank you for that. I think that was my big aha today from your talk. Am I getting there? Am I getting somewhere here?
I think yes, but the way I want about the explainable AI, there is a document, it's waiting your review, if you remember. The example there, it's more funny, in fact. Explainable AI, let's say the AI model is just kind of cooking recipe, okay? Once it's good, maybe nobody will ask you what's the gradients, what's the ingredients there, and what you did to perform it. But once there is something extra good, for example, something unexpected or extra bad, then you will say, okay, what did you did to make this? Here's the question is appeared. And until now, we are talking about the AI, about feature selection, ingredients, about learning process, whatever, and which kind of learning, which category you are going to. This is the recipe. Now, where explainable AI appeared, it's when you have a ready-made dish, fast food, a burger that it's ready for you, you have to eat it. Okay, now it's good, but for me, I will give you this example. For me as a Muslim, if I went to any restaurant in USA, I will ask about the ingredients, about the how it's prepared, because there is something I'm unable to accept even if it's good. Here's we become as a data scientist or as a waitress that we have to explain to the client that why this is good. And this is explainable AI, in fact. It's telling him the truth behind every step.
Now to Kimberly's question, and Kimberly, please chime in if I get this wrong. When we're able to explain deeper and deeper and understand we started here and we got here, we start to understand the features of AI that's not as explainable. When we dig deep enough, we can begin to uncover the ethics of those, of what got us there too. Is that accurate?
No, I was actually sorry, it's Kimberly. Hi.
Go ahead, go ahead,
I was
go
actually thinking in terms of when you're thinking about ethics in computer programming and in building all of these things, there are these algorithms that are already set up. And so if people are choosing which, as you say, recipe they're going to use, how can we set up things so that if a program comes up with a conclusion that might be a really good answer for a company, let's say, that wants to go in a certain direction, but ethically doesn't actually lead to more good than bad? How can you set up alerts and systems inside the program to highlight the different aspects of the conclusion of that learning?
I think it's a very big question for me. No, I don't know how. This is this is my clear answer about it. Because when I was talking about ethics in the presentation, it was about personal ethics, not about AI ethics or, let's say, software ethics. But again, I can say it from my side. When we have a decision that it's good for the company, but it's not ethical, here is the question that we asked previously, maybe from 3 sessions, that are we able to create, first, there is ability to create this kind of alerts. And there is something, a lot of studies. Now we have, I think to answer it, I need a clear example. For example, what is the decision and what is the non-ethical point of it? But it's more about, not about how to create this alert. It's about, is it going to be presented on this company or not? So here is why when we start as, let's say, small employees or students, we are trying to find our way in our life until we reach to the, let's say, highest educational level or highest business level. Are we able to keep our ethics with us? This is why I focus on the ethics. So it's not from technical point of view, it's from our life point of view. I don't want, for myself, for example, I don't want to live 2 lives, one in the business and one on my family, with my family. I want my ethics to be all together in one person.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
It's interesting that we're talking about that explainable AI. I just recently made a post about this mind map that this group created, and I thought it was interesting for 2 reasons. It's interesting because, to your point, Kimberly, they are using programming techniques to help explain why a model made a decision, and it explains. To your point, Raif, if you have a final dish, why is this dish delicious? Why did you think about mixing this ingredient with that one, knowing that it will, create this taste that will be pleasing to the person consuming that dish? So for me, this mind map is super technical, and it helps the technical person to visualize the logic behind that decision that led to that decision. And to me, it's an opening to visualize that logic, to understand if that logic is ethical. And how I can see this be beneficial to ethics is that if you know your data set is made of some sort of diverse aspects, and you're trying to optimize your response, then inside of the logic, you could kind of see which of those diverse groups the logic is excluding. So you can, and when you see that, and this is me just thinking out loud here, that maybe it's an opportunity now that people are all talking about explainable AI, is to how do we visualize those logics to see what is that logic singling out and not including in the final decision. And you know, it's a good step in the right direction. And then in the other end is being technical. There are multiple techniques like Lime, CHAPS. I don't even know about them, like PDP, that you could use for explainable AI. To a business person, it means nothing. Or to the same example Raif was thinking, you know, if I'm eating that dish, if you use technical terms for me to tell me why you chose your ingredients, then I will look at you like an antler, you know, like a confused person. Go ahead,
I will
Raif.
tell you. Yes, I will tell you. This is a great example. And in fact, it was my example. The problem about our field, it's interacting with the life, let's say, in each and every step. That means you are unable to tell your client, now technically we are speaking, we are unable to tell our client that, okay, I will not going to tell you something technical because you will not understand it. Simply because he are checking something that affecting his life directly. This is, we can say, if we are using X-ray machine and the end we have the result of this X-ray machine is the just X-ray. So we don't need to understand how it's working. But when we are talking about algorithms, it's, let's say, learning from the environment, for example, and then returning back to the environment some dish. So this is, you cannot tell him that, okay, I'm not going to bother you with technical terms. You have to show or to find a way to tell him the technical terms in his language. And he has to understand at that time. And this is why it's about the dish, because nobody cannot understand the food. This is his daily food. This example is really what we are doing. Our algorithms, it's becoming the daily food for our clients. They have to understand it. Now, since you speak about the sharp Lime and also other techniques, one of the most important techniques is the layer-based relevance propagation. Why this is important? Because it's looking for the structure of the neural networks. And according to that, you can understand exactly which neuron is activated for each income. At the end, it will do the same. It will give you better understanding about the features and which features is affecting on this decision, on this output. But the great about it, it's not like just focusing on the features. No, you are able to make a look on the neural network structure and understand which neurons are activated, and according to that you understand. This is what leads to the sparse brain learning, because not the full neural network is activated, so you are able to eliminate some neurons. It's just like what's happened in the dropout, but in different way.
Go on ahead.
Sorry. Okay, so this method, it's leading for what Google right now, they are naming My Map, I think, because it's kind of heat mapping. It's returning kind of heat mapping. And this heat mapping not only related to the images data sets, it can be generated for any kind of data sets. And this heat mapping, it's give you, from the feature point of view, which features are playing the main role in finding the output. Now, this is technically. Now, this is how it's affecting our life. I think, I used to think that personally, when I make a decision, only I think about my emotion. I don't have, let's say, kind of critical thinking or something. Whatever I want, whatever my passion, I'm going to do it. This is how I used to think about myself. But then I thought, I found, no, not like this. No, there is a lot of concern we are considering. And yes, there is kind of heat mapping we are creating to our features also.
So Raif, so I guess the ultimate question for me is, if I'm the person, if you give me a self-service model, how can you help me trust it? Because for me, I'd be curious, if I'm eating that dish, I want to know why, right? Why did you come up to that final decision? And how can you take advantage of that sort of explainable AI to not be technical, but be able to make me trust your logic, right? So that's where what I'm trying to get to.
Exactly. Exactly. Now this is
real,
correct.
Real quick, and Rafe, I want you to correct me, and Greg, you correct me if I'm wrong. I'm kind of trying to tie this together and label out some dimensions I see going on, and really come back around to trying to answer Kimberly's question a bit. But I want you to know I welcome disagreement or correction here. So first of all, here's two orthogonal discussions going on, preference and truth. And then, as we all know, truth depends quite a bit on our worldview. But then back to Kimberly's question, can we actually program ethics into something? And I would say it gets into a simple side, but also a deep side. Can you have some type of AI check on current ethical standards? Yes, but if you watch ethics, it's a constantly expanding field. And really, it always comes down to, are you hurting someone else? Are you helping humanity? I mean, that's the core of ethics. So, Kimberly, I think your question's like asking, do we have sentient AIs yet? Do we have general AIs yet? In a sense, not completely. If you program in the rules, then the answer to your question is yes. But because you can't cover all potential future rules for a given situation, it's like a manager saying, I want a list of all unknown problems before we encounter them. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? So if you program in the ethics, it's like putting in tests or assertions in your code. Yes, you can put those in, but even GTP3 can't tell you who it is. It doesn't ask questions about why am I here, or who am I, why am I here, where am I going? Those are things that only sentient beings can ask. But back to Greg's important point, he's just getting down to the rubber meets the road, super practical question. If an AI is going to tell me to do something, I'd like to learn from it too. I don't want to just be bossed around by an AI. I don't want to just be told the final answer. I want to know the story that got me there. And so there's these dimensions going on. We've got, well, we don't have general AI yet. We don't have a sentient being AI yet. But when AI gives us an answer, we just want to know why. Am I capturing all this accurately?
From my point, yes. From myself, yes. I found, yes, you captured it very well. Yes, this is the dimensions that we have. Now, but one thing, it's about the ethics. You just, I remember this question very well because it's happened a lot. Why we are unable to generate ethics using AI or using any kind of algorithm? Because it's about responsibility. When somebody will tell me what I'm going to do, I need him to have my concern, and I will be able to tell him that this is your choice and you are able to take the responsibility of it. It's not enough for anybody to tell us that this algorithm is making this decision and we are going to follow. And at the end, it was wrong decision. What we'll do? We'll destroy it. We destroy a lot of things. We don't have responsibility. Since there is no responsibility for these machines, we are unable to trust their ethical parts, let's say.
Well, what do you think of this, Raif? For me, I'm a fan of starting small in approaching things with like real life situations. So I'm gonna take my favorite example, which is an autonomous driving autonomous vehicle, for example. If you're building that network where you're teaching it how to make decisions, do you think it's possible to and by the way, ethics, I believe, will change with the environment that you are. Ethics in the United States is different than ethics in Canada, maybe, right? So I think it's not, you'll never have a general system that can take all of the ethics of the world, because you're going to have to truncate it. If I try to think about how to apply it in real world, it's not possible, right? Because it changes by the geographic situation that you're in. Culture is one that's like really driving ethics. So say you're in a country where you value the life of a human being more than a dog. Now, if you have an autonomous vehicle, you will train that vehicle to choose the logic that saves the person's life over the dog. If that vehicle is traveling down a path where, it might choose dog versus human. So for me, to be able to use those traceable visualization tools to visualize that logic is maybe you can set some sort of signal to understand why the vehicle chose dog versus human. And then you can create that visualization for the end user to trust it. Do you think it's a possible approach?
Hey, Greg, this is Kevin here.
Yeah,
Wondering if you can chime in a little bit. Also, this is Astrid, if you guys want to say hi. She's being a little shy right now, but I like Greg's idea of starting small. You have to start somewhere. Sometimes you just have to focus on where you are right now, where you want to be, and how you get there, and how do you track the progress along the way. I want to tie in some of the things that you guys are all saying, because you're sharing a lot of ideas that I, at least in my brain, and this is maybe how my neural network works, but it's making the connections even into this conversation. So I'm hearing things like storytelling and visualization and ethical considerations. And my mind goes back to the things that I like to study or learn about, which is mythology and legend, and how we have come to this state of being where we're able to capture so much data that almost we don't even know what to do with it, that we have so much of it. I heard in 2018 that we captured more data in that 1 year than we had in the entire existence of humans. Back hundreds of thousands of years, we didn't have this means of collecting this data, analyzing it, and using it to drive change and better decisions. So in that venture, and I want to keep my train of thought here, because I have so many things going and sometimes it's hard. But I think we're constantly looking to understand our current status. And in myth and legend, a lot of these stories that happen and that occur, the reason why we never lose track of them, and they evolve with our culture, with our generations, to say that this is still meaningful, but you have to put it in the context of what is current state. And so we think of this as like a status quo. What is our current status quo? Well, when we start small, we look at groups like we're in right now, we're talking and we're setting a standard for how we communicate, how we respect each other's time and attention and energy. And then we want to contribute some kind of value back. And it might not be equal, but we're all contributing to something that the sum of the parts are greater than the whole, right? I think I said that right. So the challenge that often gets displayed in this commonalities between myth and legend, getting some comments here about biases, it's good comments, that we start with the status quo and then we figure out, we go through this journey, this challenge that we have to overcome, and in what I like is learning about all these really cool stories of myths that the small guy won and he David versus Goliath type of stories. Well, what happens is they go through this entire journey and they learn something, and it's this whole and Thom could speak to this about the reinforced learning, or am I saying that correctly? and you go through it and you find this challenge and you overcome it, and then all of a sudden you come back at the end of it and you would like to return home because home is where you feel safe. Well, you get home and you realize that you want to go back to where you started, but you can't because you're now in present state. And you have to look at things to say, what do I want my new normal to be? What is the new status quo? And then that is where you start fresh again. So some of these things I'm tying into, and maybe I lost a few of you guys here, but at least in my brain, it's about starting somewhere, going through the journey, telling your story, how you got there, how you got through it, and what you're going to do with it moving forward. So thank you.
Awesome, Kevin. Thank you. And then, Rafe, you were going to say something earlier, but thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
No, and in fact, back to Greg's example about autonomous car. I have something here, even about this right now growing sector and AI, autonomous car. For me, there is something preventing me from believing on that. I will tell you how I think about it. AI starts with trying to, let's say, representing the senses that the human have. We are trying to create kind of computer vision, which is similar to our human vision, that when we look for something, we understand what is it. Or let's say, processing some data to have some, let's say, insights from this data according to what a human did. To move from this to make decisions without supervising the human, we need to be, for me, to be perfect in performing this for all human tasks. That means I need a computer that's able to see like me with my glasses, okay? I need a computer that is able to understand languages like me. Not better, at least my home language, my fluent language, my mother language. I need a computer, I need an algorithm, not computer, algorithm that's able to, let's say, to have the same emotion when I, let's say, listen to a song. All of this I have to see it in front of me before trusting. This is as right, okay? Before trusting decision comes from algorithm, any kind of algorithm, without any kind of supervising. When we are talking about explainable AI, why sometimes it's not needed? Because we are going to trust the engineer or the data scientist that creates it. So we are not looking for the algorithm itself, we are looking for who's created this. What is the references that he has? What is the history that he has? According to that, we are able to trust him. And according to that, we are able to decide to use explainable AI or not. But when it's related to decisions without any supervising, and this is related to autonomous cars, related to any kind of ethical generated by algorithm, at least I need to see this algorithms is working like a human for me, 100%. So this is how I approach it. It's not something that I'm forcing or something I study, but this is how I approach it from this point of view. Valerie asking something about what is the difference between peers and ethics. Now, you cannot also, again, it's depending from your point of view and to which community you are serving and which, let's say, algorithm you are serving. Sometimes it's, let's say, it's conflicting too much. But she said something very important. Don't harm. Whatever you're asked, when you ask about one action is ethical or not, check if it's not harming, and if it's serving the humanity, then it's ethical. So this is maybe a good question to ask always. Thank you, Valerie, and thank you all of you for this.
That was very good, very good. Well, we've only been going 2 hours and 15 minutes approximately, which is short for us, of course. But I do have another commitment. But I do not mind, of course, you guys going on without me. We actually had some of the steward team that had to leave early. And but this has been awesome. And those of you that are new that were here today, thank you. I'm curious. Just let us know, did this later, I know it worked better for Greg, but he doesn't count. So did this later time work better today? Should we start a little later like this, or should we stick with the earlier time that we were doing?
Are we
Maybe
missing
just,
some people though? Are we missing some?
it's hard to say, Valerie. That's a good question. I know we had a peak of somewhere close to 40 probably, but as you know, we're not too worried about the numbers. We're worried about how we grow. We're still kind of defining who we are, and you know, we're only going to have our first class soon, so a lot of things going on. And yeah, I mean, Valerie, to your point, I'm droning on. I don't know if our different time affected people showing up or not, quite frankly. But it seems like it's a bit it's either or. So we'll experiment. We're still experimenting. And
I noticed you guys started talking about food, so maybe I can see the timing of all of this, because I know I'm hungry.
I went and snuck food while people were talking, but I can hear remotely too. So, well, I want to encourage people to hang on as long as you want. I'm going to go so I can keep another appointment, but love all of you guys a lot. I won't sing today, but I will sing other times, I promise. And hope you guys have a great rest of your session. And Rafe and TAs for the class, we have much to discuss, so eager to do so. Bye, everyone.
I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much. This was amazing.
Oh,
Thank
Donabelle, we hope you can come back. We loved having you. Thanks for all your good comments in the chat and the encouragements. All right, everyone.
Pleasure to meet everybody.
Bye, Tom. Thank you, guys. Say bye to Astrid.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys. That was amazing.
Bye, bye, bye.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Hi, Greg.
Bye, Astrid. Bye-bye.
Hi, Greg. Yeah, this is
Hi.
Ngozi. How are you?
Hey, Ngozi.
Okay.
Good. All right.
Yeah, I found you here.
I'm here.
I'm stalking you now. Yes, I'm stalking you.
Good to have you guys. Good to see you.
I'll catch up with you later. Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for having me. This is my first time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Gracias, Giovanna. Thank you, guys.
Gracias a ti,
Bye.
Christian. Great today. You're talking English. Awesome. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye, Arshad.